Well, Marla Gibbs, you returned as Florence on the Jeffersons Live special a few weeks ago. How did you and Norman Lear and everybody keep that a surprise?
Well, I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
Were you allowed to even tell your friends or family?
Well, I did, but they never had me in the lineup, so I just said, well, okay, I'm here. Whatever.
And tell us about walking on that set for the first time in so many years. It was recreated so brilliantly, wasn't it?
It really was. When I read the script, I said, this is the same show I did. Word for word. And of course, I remembered it all.
Oh, you remembered it without even reading. I mean, once you realized it was the pilot,
Yeah, the moves and everything.
it all came back.
Yeah, because it's the thing that changed my life, so you don't forget it.
What was it like walking on that set for the first time and seeing the front door and the couches and the living room and everything?
It was great, and they actually had the actual backdrop that we had in the beginning. They found somebody had it. They were trying to figure out how to recreate it, and they said, we have it. So that's wonderful.
What was that? How many days did you work on the special?
I think we did 5 days.
So 4 days of rehearsal and then the live show that
Yeah.
night. What was the reaction? I heard the reaction in the room. Everybody cheered when the door opened and you were there. What was the reaction of your the friends and family of yours?
Everybody was just excited about it. And all the actors were excited too. Wanda was standing there when I said, Miss Jefferson, that's all I got to say. And everybody went into an uproar, and we just kept looking at each other. And her little eyes were twinkling.
How important was you that Norman Lear be part of this and that he was there?
Oh, it's very important. That's my hero, you know.
What is it about him? Of course, he did All in the Family and Jeffersons and Good Times and so many shows. What was it about him, especially in the 70s and 80s, that was so genius, that captured what people were wanting to watch?
Well, I can't put it into words, but when I met him, he was just, I just loved him in the beginning because everything he said was just so apropos. And when he came to the set, the notes he gave made so much sense. As a matter of fact, he stopped coming to the set, and I saw him in the hallway, and I said, why don't you come to our show anymore? He said, well, you guys don't need me. So he said, why, you want me to come? I said, yeah. So he said, okay, cancel my so-and-so, we're going to the Jefferson set. And of course the producer said, Norman's coming. Who invited him? So he said, Marla. I said, yeah.
You were teacher's pet that day.
But we were having a few issues on the set. It wasn't quite working. And I somehow knew that Norman would fix it. And he came, and right away we got the right input, and the show went on. But I knew he would do that. You just have that feeling about people, you know.
He has that instinct when he's on a set of what's
Yeah.
working and what's not.
Right.
Were you already a fan of All in the Family when you got the Jeffersons job?
Somewhat. I didn't watch it every week, but I watched it.
And how did
I
you get the
liked it.
role?
Audition. My agent, as a matter of fact, my agent, Ernestine McClendon, had been an actress in New York, and I think an agent in New York, and she moved to Los Angeles, and I went to meet with her, and she represented me. And at this time, she decided that people were not seeing her actors. They were treating her like a revolving door, in and out. And so she wrote a letter to the Hollywood Reporter complaining about that, and they had a big article in there. So suddenly her actors started being seen. And of course, at that time, they were auditioning for the Jeffersons, and I heard about it. I was doing a play with Margaret Avery in what was called the Zodiac Theater, where I thought I would always be doing plays because I loved it. And I was doing, come back to me. I was doing a play, and I heard they were auditioning for the Jeffersons. So my agent called me, and she said, she made an appointment for me to go in, and I went in. And this time, the casting agent, who normally, when I went in before, it was like I wasn't there. But this time she was paying attention to me. And everything I did, she liked. And she took me, she said, I'm taking you over to the producers. So she took me over to the producers. She said, I want you to do the same thing you did for me. So I did. And they liked it. It was Nichols, Ross, and West were the three producers, exec producers. And they really liked it. And so by the time I got home, I had a call, I had a job. So that was really exciting. And I never had a series before. So I went to read it for Norman, and I decided to change the line. Maybe I should say it this way. And so I said another one. They said, what happened? They said, no, say it the way you said it. Of course, that's the way I said it on the show. And so I did, and they liked it. So this time I was giving the show to the other actress who played Diane. And that was the end, but I was excited because I had this big show. And so I went home and didn't think about it anymore. And then they called me to come back for the 8th show, I think the 5th show. And then I did the 8th show. And the next year they offered me a contract because we only did 13 in the first year, half a season. And so it was just a wonderful opportunity.
Tell me about working, I'm going to ask you about both of them, but Isabel Sanford, what was she like?
Isabel was like, we called her, everybody said my queen, my liege, and I would say my lady. I would mess up everything I said, keep her tickled. And with her and Sherman, they would always, like Sherman would always be eating stuff, and Isabel too. So Isabel has some cookies, and I saw where she put them, and I moved them. So she said, somebody moved my cookies, where are they? And I would just look innocent. And she would be fussing. Then she'd find out I took them.
That sounds like something Florence would do.
Yeah, so I played jokes on them all the time. And Sherman, he would open the kitchen door, and the counter was there, and he'd reach in, he'd put something there, and then he'd reach in between sets to get something, and I'd always move it. And I would always be looking innocent. I don't know what's going on, you know. So after all, they caught wind of me.
What was he like?
Well, Sherman was great. He delighted in setting me up so I could hit him. I wouldn't be able to hit him as well as I did if he didn't set me up, but he loved it.
Were either one of them like their characters?
Say it again.
Were either one of those two, were Isabel or Sherman, were they like their characters at all?
Isabel was more so. Sherman, no. Sherman was an introvert, but on camera he was an extrovert. When that camera came on, so when I first started working with him, I said, is that all he's going to give me? But the cameras hit, I said, oh, okay. So we play off each other a lot.
So he would underplay in the rehearsals and then give you the full George Jefferson on camera.
Yeah, a whole nother person.
Well, tell us, how did Florence change over time?
Well, Florence, in the beginning, she, you know, as I said in the original, I do your windows every week. And then after a while, it was, why can't you do your windows? So Isabel said to me once, she said, exactly why do we have you here? I said, obviously to teach you because you don't know a damn thing. I said, you don't know how to cook, you don't know how to clean your house. I said, and when I leave here, you're gonna know everything. She said.
Now on the special that you just did for ABC, Wanda Sykes plays Wheezy. Tell us about working with Wanda.
Wanda was great. Wanda did not imitate her. She just did the thing the way she thought it should be done, and it was perfect.
She had the hairstyle and the clothes right, though.
Yes, and so did Jamie.
Yeah.
When they put the hair on him, I looked at him.
Now, Jamie does a full-on impression.
Oh, yes, he did. He loved it.
What's he like to work with?
Oh, he was great. Everybody was great. But Jamie was just raring to go. He'd come in between the sets and come over and hug me.
The first moment you arrived for the first day of rehearsal, what was that like? And tell us about that moment.
When I first arrived, I was met by Kerry Washington, who looked like a teenager because her hair would change, and I didn't know who she was for a second. And she said, "I get to work with you a second time." Then I realized I'm talking to Kerry.
Mm-hmm.
She was just beautiful.
Now, last time I think the three of you were together, Isabel, Sherman, and you, was the CBS anniversary special.
In New York?
Yeah, about 16, 17 years
Yeah.
ago. What was that night like, reuniting?
Well, that was funny because I had an outfit that was almost a sapphire blue. And I got that, Isabel had a sapphire blue, and she said, "Is that the same color as mine?" I said, "No, Melanie, no." Sherman said, "No, honey, it's something else." I said, "No, it is." I said, "But it's not just like yours. Yours is beautiful." She said,
Was it fun being together again?
And so she was not that well at that time.
Right. She didn't, maybe in the next year she passed away? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, she said, she was facing us, she said, "I'm having a problem that I fall backwards." So I said, "Well, my lady, you're standing the wrong way. You need to turn around. We can't catch you if you fall backwards now." So I said, "I'll tell you what, since we call you our queen, what you do is you put one hand on Sherman, you put one hand on me, and then you just take your hand and do like you're saying to your audience. And that way you can get all the way to the microphone." So we did, that's what we did. We walked in like that, like she was the queen and we were escorting her.
And you had a fun time that night?
He did. So then I met the people from Everybody Loves Raymond, which is one of my favorite shows. And I went over and hugged them and told them they were doing a great job. And then Doris from Everybody Loves Raymond, which is another one of my favorite shows. I went over to congratulate her.
Now, on this special, you had the All in the Family first, and then the Jeffersons was second. What did all of you do after the show was over?
No, I think Good Times was second.
No, I mean on the special that you just did, the live special.
Oh, yeah.
You had the Bunkers, and then you had the
Right.
Jeffersons. What did you all do to celebrate afterwards? Was there a big party?
There was a party, and I think Jimmy Kimmel, we had a dinner at Jimmy Kimmel's house, which was very nice. That's before the show, and then afterwards there was another party that we went to. Everything was nice.
Of all the original episodes back in the 70s and 80s, is there one that stands out to you? One that I'm sure people ask you what your favorite one was?
I have several. We did 200 shows,
Yeah.
so. But one was where I played Aunt Jemima,
Oh yeah.
when he wanted me to be the proper maid, and drove him crazy. And then I had one with Billy D. Williams,
Oh yeah.
which was nice. And then there was another with Ned Werdemer and I. Ned and I became friends over the years until he passed away. And we had to be Helen Willis and Tom Willis because George was inviting an interracial couple over, and he wanted them to think that his friends were interracial. And of course, he was always at odds with Helen and Tom. So he made me be Helen and Ned be Tom, you know. And it was funny.
You got 5 Emmy nominations when you were on the Jeffersons, but not right away. It started, I think, around 1980.
Something like
So you
that.
were already into the show a few years.
Yeah.
Tell us about your first Emmy Awards experience.
Oh my goodness. It's overwhelming. You can't really describe it. You're sitting there and then they put the camera on you and you're trying to look normal. You want to go, ah! But you're going.
And Isabel won for lead actress one year.
She did.
That was an amazing episode of hers, the one where she goes back to visit her childhood home.
Yeah. The doorknobs were shining.
Yeah, that's the name of it. That's right.
Yeah.
What, did you all celebrate that night after she won?
No, until she did,
Yeah.
but I don't know what she did. They probably had a private party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, last year, you sort of got an Emmy from Michael Che.
Say it again.
Last year's Emmy Awards, you sort of got an Emmy Award from Michael Che.
Yeah, and I messed that up. I was so busy trying to do my little thing. I said, afterwards, I said, what were you thinking about? But he said, no, it was fine. I was upset with myself, but he kept saying, no, everybody said, no, it was fine. It came out fine.
No, it was good. It was very funny. The room just erupted in applause when you came on screen.
Yeah, that was really
What would it
nice.
mean if this brought you back to the Emmy Awards in a few weeks when nominations come out?
It will be a miracle. It will be very well appreciated and accepted. And I will say, at last. I've been a bridesmaid 4 times, and now I'm a bride.
Well, speaking of awards, I had to get your reaction on your, from 227, your TV daughter, Regina King, winning an Oscar earlier this year.
That's my baby.
Every time I see her, I ask her about
That's
you and how
three.
you're doing.
She has 3 Emmys, 1 Golden Globe, and an Oscar. I said, how the heck do you expect me to catch up with you? Would you pause, please?
What did you do? Were you sitting at home when she won?
Yes,
Did you jump up out of your seat?
yes. My daughter is on the phone. Did you see her? You see us? Yeah. So she came over at Christmas to help me trim the Christmas tree. She did that 2 years in a row.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we stayed together.
Even though she was young when you first started on 227, did you know she was going to be a great one, a great actress?
She was already on her way when she did the play. She worked with another group, but she had already been acting and been in a couple of plays. So when we hired her, she was already there.
And you followed her all these years and all the different things she's been
yeah,
in?
Yeah, and then I wanted her on 227 because I said, look at her. She's got sandy hair like Hal. She's got light brown eyes like Hal. She could really be his daughter. I want her. So they had another little girl they wanted, but I won.
Have you spoken with her since she won her Oscar?
Oh yeah, I call her right away.
Yeah.
I don't get her right away, but I call her right away.
Yeah, she's quite busy.
Yes, she is.
When was the last time you saw Hal Williams?
Say it again, Hal?
Hal,
Oh, I see Hal all the time.
do you?
Yeah. They did something for us. The city council did something for us. And he was there. I was there. Every time something goes on, he's there. Or we'll call each other. And then we did a reboot. It's supposed to be a reboot of 227, but actually it wasn't. It's the black female, black something. And we had a scene in it.
Okay.
Me, him, and Jack A. Yeah. So I've worked with Jack A at least 3 or 4 times since 227.
Yeah.
She played my daughter on The First Family.
On the Jeffersons, have they talked at all? It was so popular, the one that just aired, the special. Have they talked at all about doing another one?
Not to me. I'm sure they're talking, but I don't know about what. But I'm hoping they'll come up with something, and I hope I can be involved because I'm ready.
Well, last thing today as we finish up, I just noticed that your birthday is this week. Your birthday is this week.
Yes, I'll be 30 again before you say the other one.
30, celebrating how many times?
I'm 30 now since 2004
Okay.
when I decided to be 30.
How will you celebrate this next birthday?
We're going to dinner. Usually go to dinner.
Right.
And my daughter's waiting for me to tell her where I'd like to go. So I was over in the Grove yesterday, as a matter of fact, walking through, and I saw the Marmalade Cafe, and they had a little menu outside, and I said, this looks interesting. So I told my son while I was on the way over here, I called him, I said, go to the computer and look up Marmalade Cafe and print out the menu so I can tell my daughter.
Well, now that you've given them an advertisement here, maybe you'll get a free dinner.
From your lips to God's ear.
Marla, thank you so much.
Marmalade.
We were so excited to see you again on the Jeffersons, and good luck with
Thank you. I
everything.
was excited to be on the Jefferson.